Alrighty. So at this point, you want to check in with your client. Ruby, how are you feeling so far?
I'm great, thank you.
Awesome. Would you like me to readdress anything before you turn over, or are you ready to flip?
I'm ready to
Okay. So first, I'm going to set up the face cradle for her, so that when she turns over, she has a place to put her face. Okay. As you can see, my pillowcase kind of got messed up here. I wanted to show you guys this thing one more time. You just simply place the pillowcase over, cut through the middle, and then you can use what you push through to pull and tug under the frame of the face cradle. And that keeps it secure and nice and snug. I know you guys have fitted face cradle covers right now. That may not always be the case, so it's really good to know how to use a pillowcase as a face cradle. Alrighty. Now, just so my client can breathe, I want to make sure I lift this so that her chest is well supported, her chin is supported, and I want to have it close enough to the table so that her shoulders are supported. A lot of the time people bring it out too far, and what happens is the client's shoulder hangs over the edge. You want to make sure it's close enough to have shoulder support, and you can kind of determine that by how long the client's neck is for how far you may need to extend this out. Okay. I usually try to tip the forehead down a little bit as well, just to keep the chin in and allow access to all the posterior neck muscles. Alright, so I'm going to lift this part so that way she has plenty of room for her shoulders to turn over. I'm also going to secure the draping to the table with this hand. Ruby, can you please turn away from me and move up to the face cradle? Okay. Now I instructed her to pull in a direction that was away from where I had it secured. If I was turning her over from posterior to anterior, I would say turn toward me. That way the pull would continue in the same direction. Okay? Ruby, is the face cradle comfortable for you?
Yes.
Do you need it adjusted at all?
No.
Okay. I'm also going to get the chair out of my way. Alrighty, lift your ankles a bit for me. Thank you. Alrighty. You also just want to take a minute to make sure all the draping is nice and even and neat. Okay? This should be very brief because you've kept it very neat up to this point. Okay. Draping, same protocol, same rules, same key factors for the posterior legs. I'll just run through it for you guys. My client here, she requested that glute work only be done through the draping, so the demo you're about to see is in regard to that boundary. I did forget to do compressions, but we're going to continue. The only thing that's different is the way we support the knee on the posterior. You're going to grab just below the patella, like right on the tibia, and lift. This one you do have to lift a little bit, okay? Now, the other thing is you may need to pull it up a little bit higher posteriorly to keep it closer to the medial thigh, okay? I'm going to expose up to the ischial tuberosity, making sure that this 45-degree angle does cover her as she's asked to be covered, okay? Draping should be one and done, but if it starts slipping away, like you just saw it happen, you do want to address it. You do want to fix it. If it is a little bit like really falling out of place, just communicate with your client. Just say, oh, just adjusting the draping real quick. Simply adjust and keep moving. Again, your petrissage should be from the ischial tuberosity. Now, one thing you want to make sure you keep in mind for hamstrings is that there are medial and lateral attachments. So when you get to the end of your petrissage, or if you include some soft fist, make sure you get both the lateral and the medial insertions. Remember that the popliteal area is an endangerment site. So you want to make sure if you're applying knuckles or working down to the tendons that you're actually feeling where the tendons are and you know where they are, so that you're not hitting any major vessels in there. This is a really simple way to also integrate any reflexology techniques you've learned. You have full access to the feet from the superior part. You can also do this while the client is supine. You know, if you want to bring your stool to the end of the table, do some extra footwork, you can definitely do that as well. Just make sure that you are aware of how much time you're spending on the feet versus other parts of the area, so that you stay within the time boundaries. What I'm doing here is just a little bit of traction, pushing on the calcaneus, and sort of like T12, right where the lumbar turns into the thoracic vertebrae. Remember, the lumbar vertebrae, all the nerves come down into the legs. So that traction, that support from the lower thorax allows for the stretch of the whole sort of kinetic chain here. The whole, all the lines of fascia and all that stuff. So it's can be very relieving and decompressing. You can do some nice transition with some compression to the feet. We've never had anyone complain on that, so. Now, your compression is a great time, again, just to note where the bony landmarks are. Use your compression as a way to say hello, as goodbye, and as to palpate bony landmarks. Bringing the foot again to the edge of the table. Make sure the ankle's supported